Shalom to all of our Jewish Voice viewers and friends. This has been a critical month for Israel indeed, and I've been asked to comment on a few things. First of all, I want to talk about this effort on the part of the Palestinians to be recognized in the UN General Assembly and Security Council prematurely, leaving Israel completely out of the picture and unilaterally declaring statehood. This obviously is not going to work with Israel, and yet there's great pressure being put on the UN, which already is predominantly anti-Israel, to push this through. September 20th is come and gone, now the 21st. It's my prediction that this will finally be heard by the UN on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. Why Yom Kippur? Because there won't be a single Israeli representative in the United Nations on this, the most holy day of the Jewish calendar. And would it surprise anyone, really, that the UN, which is already so anti-Israel, would end up doing this? This is a huge setback for Israel. It intensifies world pressure, and Israel's already under tremendous pressure. And although the United States is going to veto this, UK is going to veto it, there's still a large power block of Arab countries and sympathizers that will likely vote this through, and then Israel will be facing greater condemnation than ever before. So pray for the peace of Jerusalem, because Israel cannot, I repeat, cannot give in to these demands. It's not a two-state solution ultimately for the Palestinians. It's a one-state solution, and that state is not the Jewish state. One of the questions we've received that I think needs to be answered is, what do you think the Palestinians are going to do to push this vote through? What have they already done? And the answer is they've done a lot. There's been a lot of pressure put on various nations. There's been a lot of lobbying that's been going on for quite some time now by Abbas, the president of the Palestinian Authority. And the UN there already is a power block of Arab nations in the United Nations that are committed to forcing Israel's hand, and they're continuing to try to work on the United States and UK and other nations that will veto this, and trying to pressurize them to change their mind, while at the same time America is trying to lobby to keep this from happening, because it will be perhaps a death blow to any formalized peace process that has any chance of succeeding. Even if the UN does vote to recognize a Palestinian state, it will not move along the peace process. It is clearly going to harm the peace process. Another question is, what can happen if the vote does go through for a unilaterally declared independent state for the Palestinians? Well, several things. First of all, it's going to intensify international pressure on Israel, which is already great. Israel cannot comply with this. They will not turn over Jerusalem to the Palestinians. They will not retreat to 1967 borders, which are completely indefensible. So it puts terrible pressure on Israel. Likely boycotting and so on will continue. Nothing new, but it's actually damaging to any peace process that has any chance of succeeding. It's not helpful, but hindering it, which is why the U.S. and UK and other nations are going to veto this, but I don't think that veto will be enough to stop the Arab bloc from pushing this through. What does this mean for us as believers in Yeshua? What does this mean for America? And how do these results relate to Bible prophecy? Well, let me deal with the last part of the question first. Bible prophecy is very clear in Zechariah chapter 14 that Israel is an immovable stone of stumbling for all the nations of the earth. Sadly, that includes the United States of America, which ultimately, I believe, will turn against Israel. And this current administration already has moved in that direction. Thank God we have a Congress and Senate that continues to stand with Israel and understands the deep relationship that we have with Israel, not from a biblical perspective, but from a perspective of democracy. This is a tiny democracy in an island of fundamentalist Islamic rule, and we need to maintain that relationship with Israel. But for us as believers, we need to know how to pray, and we need to faithfully pray for the peace of Jerusalem. The Bible is very clear about that, as well as being very clear that, like it or not, God has weighed in on this. And he said that this land will be an everlasting possession for the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And friends, everlasting is eternal. Everlasting means one thing, everlasting. And so, like it or not, that's the reality. What this means for America, I believe, is that America's support of Israel has brought blessing to this nation. And I'm more concerned actually for America than I am for Israel if America turns her back on Israel, because the blessings of God and the curse of God is very clear. I will bless those that bless my people and curse the one who curses the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that's very clear. America's blessing for blessing the Jewish people will lift, and God help us if that's the case. So Bible prophecy is being fulfilled. I'm not happy about what's happening, but the reality is that all the nations of the earth, according to Zechariah 14, will turn against Israel in the latter days. We need to pray that God's will be done and that his peace plan, which is the Prince of Peace, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Messiah, is revealed to Jew and Arab alike. That's God's peace plan, and that's how I'm praying, and I hope you'll join me.